How did the massive fruit orchards came to be in the wild prairies? Where did all the beautiful flowers that we see today came from? How did Canada become the breadbasket of the world? The first migrant from Ukraine to Canada can be considered a spikelet of wheat from Galicia, brought in 1842 by Canadian farmer David Fife from Glasgow, Scotland, where a Gdansk steamer with Ukrainian bread was unloaded. This type of wheat was called red Fife, and it bore significantly more grain than other species. It also had excellent quality. Red Fife became one of the main species distributed in Canada and the northern United States. Its advantages were greater height and later maturity times. Later, Red Fife was crossed with another brand of wheat called Hard Red Calcutta to make a new species named Marquise. By 1928, 85% of all spring wheat crops in Canada were Marquise. The first recorded wave of immigration to Canada occurred in 1891 to 1892, although it is generally believed that immigrants from Ukraine arrived there much earlier. The first officially registered Ukrainians, Vasil Eleniak and Ivan Pilipiv, arrived in Canada on September 6, 1891. Since then, immigration of Ukrainians has begun, aided by Canada's immigration policy. Canada had an interest in Eastern European immigrants as it needed cheaper labor to respond to the land and the world's rapidly increasing wheat demand. The Liberal government of Wilfrid Laurier was encouraging the resettlement of Eastern European peasants, providing them with land allotments of 65 hectares called homesteads. This was a large land allotment at that time. Nowadays, large farms can be over thousands of hectares in size. As potential farmers, Ukrainian immigrants settled in the newly created southwestern provinces of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta, turning a wide strip of Canadian prairies into the breadbasket of the world. According to 1921 census, prairies contained around 1.4 million Canadians with Ukrainian roots. When immigrating to Canada, Ukrainians brought plants from home. It is easy to guess that the Ukrainians' thinking was practical. What if, in that unknown land they were intending to settle, there were no plants like this? When embarking on the long journey across the Atlantic Ocean, the Ukrainian settlers filled whatever space was available in bags and pockets with their prized seeds. The farmers took with them various useful seeds and domestic implements, while their wives and daughters, emigrating at the same time or a while later, took with them seeds and roots of their favorite flowers and aromatic herbs. These plants often served medicinal purposes and were used to ornament dwellings during traditional festivals, and their aroma became an important part of the culture that was passed on to younger generations. During the several decades of Ukrainian immigration to Canada, the number of plants became gradually naturalized to Canadian soil. It enriched Canadian flora and reminded the settlers of the homeland they left behind. Bringing with them hard-working attitude and pride of working the land, Ukrainians passed on the knowledge of growing and taking care of crops from generation to generation. Under their care, crops, flowers, fruit trees, and livestock flourished. The generational knowledge brought with them, along with native Ukrainian plants, was a starting point. Due to some similarities but also differences in climates, farmers had to learn to grow plants in the shorter planting season, breed them to withstand early frosts, etc. By trial and error and dedication to the land, many domestic plants cultivated by Ukrainian gardeners and farmers in Canada are still around nowadays, and by many are considered native to the Canadian prairies. Ukrainian-Canadian pioneers of pomology, Mr. Zwarich, Mr. Negrich, and Mr. Yuskiw, have conducted experimentations with different apple seedlings and have grown the apple varieties that we know and eat to this day. As well as apples, they developed several different varieties of pears, cherries, and plums. They sent their information to newspapers and encouraged more and more sellers to plant the improved varieties. They even gave away some of the seedlings for people to see how good their seeds are. Because of them, Canada has more than 100 varieties of fruit derived from Ukrainian seeds. One of the most famous plants used in traditional Ukrainian foods is the large white kidney bean. It can be used in many dishes, cold and hot, but one of the most recognizable uses is in borscht, where it adds that delicious beany flavor. Another popular domestic plant is the common sunflower, soняшник. Thanks to large fields of them, Ukraine is in the top spot for being the sunflower oil exporter of the world. There is also garlic, or chasnik in Ukrainian language. Its dispersal in Canada is due in large to Ukrainian settlers. It has many purposes, mostly for seasoning foods and medicinal uses. Several Ukrainian foods are seasoned with it, like borscht, dill pickles, sausages, and other meat products as well.
And finally, many flowers brought from Ukraine as well. Every homestead had the hollyhocks, bright and cheering flowers peeking into the house in the summer. Marigolds, periwinkles, cornflowers, and geraniums could also be seen in the summer and the fall all throughout Canada.
That is all I have for you today. Thank you. Slava Ukraini! Glory to Ukraine and glory to Canada!